action. It's still brutal. Unbelievable, man. That and the toxic waste guy at the end.
Oh, yeah.
It's a traumatic movie, man.
Heck yeah.
It's unbelievable. I was talking about Miguel, man. The first character is very cool, too, because, like, when he comes up, like, with the obit and stuff like that, man, there's very little mention of RoboCop, and I saw no mention of Twin Peaks. And that's the first thing I think of when we were talking about this before we turned the camera on, man, that... Freaking Albert Rosenfeld, man. It's weird. That was what I was going to say earlier, man. It's unbelievable how many, like, memorable people are part of the FBI on Twin Peaks. Because you've got Dale. Dale's the man. And you've got,
Cooper.
What the heck, man? All I can think of now is David Lynch. And
Chester Desmond.
Yeah, Chester Desmond is,
Chris Isaac.
That's Chris Isaac. Yeah, man. It's the one that Bowie lets rock with.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. It's, I'll think of it in a second. It'll come back to me before the show's done. Anyway, it's just amazing how many unique and interesting, awesome people there are, man. But I love that guy. I love Miguel Ferrer. The story I was going to tell you, this is crazy. Apparently, and this is out there, I mean, everybody's heard it, but it's still kind of cool. Made me think of him. I saw him on a talk show one night, and apparently he's a drummer. He was like a prodigy drummer, really, really good at the instrument. And Keith Moon was, after the Who broke up, or after he left the Who or whatever, man, was doing a solo album. And one of the songs on it, he wanted somebody that no one had ever heard of before. He wanted to find some kid that no one had ever heard before to play the drums. So on Keith Moon's solo album, Miguel Ferrer plays a track on there. And he was like, I think he was 15. I'm like, that's freaking awesome. So it was before he was, I mean, he's still, I think him and George are cousins. I think he's Rosemary Clooney's like nephew or something like that. So he was known, but not known like that. And it's like, God, that's a cool thing. Years later, he's Albert. He's the guy that builds RoboCop.
Yeah. It's a cool little side note in a career that you think, well, if that's all I got to do, that would be pretty awesome.
Totally.
Keith Moon record.
Yeah, it was real cool. Him telling the story was neat because he was way like famous as an actor and he was older and he was still kind of like excited about it. It was neat. You could tell it was a big deal to him. It'd be a big deal to me too, man.
So, man, that's a cool one to go check out. I think if you want to get a good idea of the type of actor he was, is check out RoboCop. Do not, RoboCop was just one of those movies. Now, not beat the dead horse, just haunted me. As a kid, with just the type of violence. And since it's come out, I didn't know there even was an NC-17 cut of it. Have watched that since, and it's really, to me, not that different. I think there's of the death scene for Alex Murphy. There's a shot from his back as he's racing up, and there's a bullet that goes through his head, and that's what had to be cut.
Yeah, because boy, that makes a huge difference when you see the rest of the scene. Let me tell you.
It's the lines in the movie alone. And Red Foreman's dad killing RoboCop. I mean, it was graphic and horrific and stuck with me, but at the same time, has a big place of love for that movie. But can't be understated how much it freaked me out.
It's interesting, man, because as much crap as Paul Verhoeven went on to do, that one's still really good. It's kind of like Schumacher when you watch The Lost Boys. Joel Schumacher's Joel Schumacher, but The Lost Boys still rules, man. It's just like, RoboCop, all right. And it's kind of got that Die Hard thing where it's a straight action movie, but boy, there's a lot to it. It's a really good, it's a quality movie.
The same Paul Verhoeven of Starship Troopers fame.
Starship Troopers is it's an interesting thing because it's
culty.
I
get why people like it, but don't call it good.
Yeah,
it's not good.
I think it's very, very enjoyable. I don't think it's good. I totally get why people like it. I think the thing is, if that joke is your type of joke, that's your movie, and it's just not my type of joke. It's cool, but it's just like, okay,
cool. But so big bucket of win to Miguel.
Yeah, buddy.
On the way out. So, coming up this week. Sunday, February 22nd. That's what today is. It's coming up. Will be NXT this weekend, Takeover San Antonio, and then the Royal Rumble.
Yeah,
so we'll
baby.
Talk about.
Can't wait.
Predictions, what we think might happen. As far as what's been announced, as far as the NXT Takeover show, you're gonna have Nakamura versus Rude.
Oh darn!
And I don't know if I'm fairly confident they'll have Nakamura drop the title. I don't know if they'll go ahead and have him enter the Rumble the next night or try to drag this out till Mania. I think it might be smarter to Nakamura drop the title and just he's on the main roster in the you put him in the Rumble and then still have him back down to NXT, but that kind of does a disservice. I'm like, just go ahead and have him on the main roster because he's coming up anyway.
It'd be awesome if he dropped the title and then when he comes out at the Royal Rumble, he walks to the ring to the Jeffersons theme. That'd be hilarious. It's one of the things I love when you get bookings where I have no idea what they're going to do. And this is one of those ones simply because saying that Nakamura is ready for the main roster, I completely agree. Saying that Bobby Roode is ready for the main roster, I agree with that too. So it's like I have no idea. I like it just because I love both of them. So it's cool either way they do it, man. But I have no idea what they're going to do, and I kind of like it that way. It's fun watching it as a fan. And, Mark, honky tonk man, Mark.
So that's cause I just think it makes more sense. If you look at typically what they've done with some of the feuds in NXT before a guy goes to the main roster, it is kind of more of a drawn out thing where this title's traded back into. I say just go ahead, pull the plug, and do it.
I got no problem with that. I mean, you don't need Nakamura to be the Charlotte Flair of NXT, and that sounds like I love Charlotte. We'll get into that, but it's just the belt toss. The thing that so many people complain about is the toss between her and Sasha, and they're right. I totally agree. It's like, I'm tired of that back and forth, man. Make a decision.
It's enough. And the other matches that have been announced so far is Team DIY versus Authors of Pain. Don't really care one way or the other, to be honest with you. As much as I like Ciampa and Gargano, I just don't really have an interest in one way or the other.
This is a really crappily cynical thing to say, but it's how I feel about it. I don't care if DIY goes out there and shoots marinara sauce out of their buttholes. It doesn't matter what they do following the match with the Revival. People are going to crap on it because people are just like that. They just gripe and fuss. And I mean, Authors of Pain, maybe they can do it. I'm with you. I don't know, but I'm such a I'm so easy to please when it comes to NXT. Basically, if it's got that logo on it, I like it. It's ridiculous. I have no objectivity whatsoever. I'm way too much of a fan.
I don't really see why they would put them in this title shot this early.
It does seem
they still
quick,
have a few more months of killing guys that they should be doing.
Yes, that's something that's been driving me crazy, and apparently nobody else noticed, which is real good. But it's something that has made me insane with both of the big monsters that we're building up on each show. Man, on Braun Strowman, you had Braun, who was untouchable by anybody, and then all of a sudden it's like, let's let Goldberg and Roman spear him. And then it's like literally when they announce him now, people boo, and it's like, you should boo because he's a heel, but that's not what was going on. It's like, you killed his push. Just dadgum killed his push, shot it right in the head. They did the exact same thing.
Shouldn't be taken off his feet by anybody.
Yeah, exactly. And they did the same thing with Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin, John Cena's back 1 week, and Cena gets a freaking pinfall clean victory over Baron Corbin. Now, I'm not saying Cena should lose when he comes back. I'm saying him and Baron Corbin shouldn't be anywhere near each other.
Yeah,
that's just so stupid. You need to keep them away from each other until John goes to make his other movie, and you want to give the belt to Baron Corbin. First time they get together, Corbin should beat the crap out of him. It's the same, like the whole little, I won't go into all this because it's very detailed, but I had this crazy psychopathic plan that got Roman Reigns the title. And first things first, you have to understand, my little hat is Georgia Tech because I'm a huge Tech fan, so I love Roman Reigns because I'm just biased. I like the guy. His matches make me insane because they bore me in the same way that Cena always did. So there is so much criticism levied against that kid that not only do I understand, but I agree with. But he's going to get that title, so let's just get it over with. But we had come up with this whole plan where you've got him and you've got Braun Strowman, and the first time they get together, I concocted it perfectly, where Braun wins the match, but it's non-sanctioned, so the belt's not on the line. Everybody's happy. It's awesome because it's SummerSlam. It's months from now, and Strowman's so over, it won't matter when he finally loses. That's what you're supposed to do with monsters. What you're supposed to do with monsters is the only time they're not in the main event, they're beating the crap out of somebody else that's not main event. Then the first time they get to the main event, they win the sucker. I know it's Jerry Lawler and Kamala, but it's the greatest monster heel push ever. Not that wasn't Vader. Vader was the best ever because Vader started his career in New Japan beating Inoki in 8 minutes. And there was a riot. It's Japan, and there was a riot. They're very polite, and it's like going to the theater. It'd be like somebody burning down the theater because because Aaron Burr kills Hamilton. So you didn't see it coming.
I think that's another problem with this DIY Authors of Pain match. Number one, I can't tell you the names of either one of them. Authors of Pain.
Bebop and Rocksteady.
And then, second of all, when you look at them, all you see is like, oh, those are the bad guy Usos. Just
Bad guy Usyk